manager, and also I'm the lead for the business team for Singapore Poly. So I'm here as a host for today's sessions about greening the futures with sustainable automations and robotics industries. Okay, so today we have two distinguished speakers, one from Dr. Carlos. He's from our Singapore Polytechnics, senior specialist in robotics, automation and control. And our next speaker too will be Mr. Chan Kok Ho Ken from Movida Singapore. He is a vice president and business development teams. Okay, and on the program's details here, you can see as we have 3 p.m. We have I'm already started my welcome address. Okay, then I'll invite my speaker number one, Dr. Carlos, for his interesting topics on efforts to create in industries. Let me welcome Dr. Carlos.
Hello everyone. Yes, so I'll be presenting today on a topic on the different efforts that we have for sustainability, sustainable automations and the robotics industry. I'm Dr. Carlos. I'm from the School of Electrical Electronic Engineering at the Singapore Polytechnic. So the outline that I'm going to be presenting for this for today is first I'm going to be introducing what is sustainability in the world, the different efforts that have been happening, as well as be touching a little bit on manufacturing, what we've been doing on sustainability and manufacturing around the world, and the different efforts and what it means. And then I'll be introducing a couple of case studies of the efforts that have been happening worldwide. And after that, from there, I'm going to be narrowing into the Singapore context. I'll be talking about what is happening in the Singapore context, what we've been doing here in Singapore, and what is our direction. I'll be presenting to you a couple of case of studies also in Singapore, and then I will be giving you my concluding remarks for this presentation. Right, let's start. So, sustainability worldwide. It's been already several decades that the world has realized that there is a little bit of a problem with the health of the planet, and therefore it's been a global effort to try to improve the health of the planet and the well-being of this generation, as well as to preserve things for their future generations. So one of the things that it's really been doing is the efforts to create the use of resources to be used in a responsible manner, as well as to be balanced, so that we can use the resources for our benefit now in the present, and as well as for the future generations. And I think this is an important thing. Businesses have realized that it's not only just to keep it in the present moment without thinking about the future, but they're also addressing this problem of how to be sustainable so that the future generations can also benefit from the resources that we have in the world, and furthermore, without damaging the ecosystem, as well as preserving or reusing many of these resources so that we can actually embark into better practices. So one of the things that I'm going to be presenting in here is that is the effort of the companies, but you will also notice that there is a big drive as well as to change the mindset of the people, not the people only in the companies, but also the everyday individual that also benefit from this, and they can also do their part to make everything sustainable. When we talk about sustainability in business, yes, we're basically referring to how the companies integrate the environmental, society and economic considerations for the practices of the organizations. And this goes from the everyday operations to actually larger projects in there. So one of the things and one of the practices that are actually helping to mitigate the problem that we have, the climate problem that we're facing, first is to reduce waste. So that means everything that the organizations, the different businesses are using, they try to reduce the amount of waste that they actually produce. And this is actually by trying to introduce cycles where you can actually reuse some of these waste into some other parts of the production. Next will be, of course, implementing a more sustainable supply chain practices. So instead of being searching from places that are really very far, so many companies are looking at what can I get locally so that it actually can help on reducing the impact in the environment, as well as transitioning into renewable energy sources. And I think this is one of the things that a lot of companies is looking at. How can we transition to those renewable energy sources? You're going to see that in manufacturing, we've been doing things for quite a while. It's one of the sectors that, if you think about it, bigger companies have started on this move several years back, but more and more companies are feeling that are left behind on manufacturing, and therefore they try to now move into the sustainable manufacturing. How can I do these things? And one of the important things is because there are regulations that being imposed to the different companies in the different countries as well, and these regulations now bring certain level of pressure to the companies and to the businesses so that they can actually start moving towards this sustainable movement. Now, it's also for bigger companies and companies that want to build up their more, and also to bring more customers and to build their trust and to gain their trust. How can I do it? Well, one of the ways that the companies are actually doing it and to maintaining their customers is by becoming sustainable, because that gives a higher message to the customers of these companies. As well as this also, as you will see later in some of the case studies, can actually directly be monitored or translated into cost savings, and as well as to bring innovations in there. So the key aspects of sustainable manufacturing, you guys can see here listed in this slide. I have 5 different items in there, and these are probably one of the 5 more relevant ones that when you do a search online, this is what you're going to find, that these are critical aspects that people are actually doing towards manufacturing. Okay, so we're going to be talking about some of these ones in the different case studies, but you can actually be looking at that the companies are actually doing efforts maybe in one of them, in 2 of them. Some more companies are trying to do 3 or 4 of these ones, and some companies are really trying to enter full-fledged move into 5 of them. But one of the things that you're going to notice is that small efforts are actually important. So some companies start with one of these key aspects, and then they move into 2 or 3, or they plan to maybe later move into more of these ones as support comes in, or as they finish certain phases of their way to sustainability. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is the first case study that I'm going to be introducing is from the company Unilever. So I want you guys to observe the video, and then after that I'm going to talk about some key points on this one.
In these little moments, from billions of life stories all over the world, we're there. The world is changing. We can see these
in the world scientific community that this is a direct result of human activity.
So we look to our founders' legacy to guide us, to create, to innovate. energy to build a better future. Build a culture as diverse and as remarkable as the people we serve. To tackle the big issues that affect us all.
If we don't value the services that nature provides, we cannot be a sustainable business.
This has become the default to zero everything.
Together, we can build a renewable.
This is no longer about ideology. This is about sheer economics. Any technology is not inevitable. It is a choice to make.
Leave nobody behind.
Because our brands are so much more than just brands. They are our commitment to making sustainable living commonplace. This is our purpose.
So as you guys can see there in the video, Unilever, as you know, is a leading global consumer goods company. Actually, many of the brands that you saw in the actually all the brands that you saw in the video and many more, they are part of Unilever there. Now, they have started their path towards sustainability for many years behind. And as you guys can see there on the slide, one of the key factors was to reduce the water or to improve water efficiency there. And they improve it by reducing the consumption of water. And as you can see, as a company, they reduce it by 47%. And this is since 2008. So as you guys can see, that this is a company that actually uses a lot of water for all the different processes in order to produce all the different goods that they have. But they also try to reduce the waste of a landfill policy. Now, this one probably still, you might say, hey, but the products still produce a landfill. But they try to reduce it in what they are doing for production. They've also been using renewable energy there for the manufacturing. And then been also trying to reduce the raw materials source in there by using only sustainable sources. So this will also give back to the environment. So it's not only just to try to look for places where you can source cheaply, but it's also to give back in the environment. And I think this is something that the company, all these big brands, they try to give they try to give the message that we are not only here for the profits, but we are also here to try to help and to keep the planet sustainable as well. So this is the first case study in there, and then as you can see there, it also on the results there I have there, it says that 1.2 billion euros were saved through sustainable initiatives. So as you can see here, by reducing water consumption, by reducing waste, by improving the renewable energy that they use and reducing the raw material sources as well, they have improved or they have reduced the amount of cost saved. And this is because when you start thinking about this sustainability, you're going to realize that many companies start thinking in a different way, in an innovative way. How can I address the problem that I have at hand with the restrictions that I have? And because of that, I want to show you another company, Interface. You might have heard of these ones, but let's see first the video, and after that we discuss on this one.
Carbon. The world has a problem with it. There's too much of it, and it's in all the wrong places. Nature has always had a way of managing the amount of carbon in our atmosphere by storing it in the plants and trees that cover our planet. However, as human activity releases more and more carbon dioxide, the natural world is struggling to keep up. A dangerous excess of carbon is building, and the planet is warming at an alarming rate. So we'll create products that contribute to this problem and do more harm than good. At Interface, we know that carbon doesn't have to be the enemy. We've spent years developing ways to love carbon at every stage of the product lifecycle. Taking our cue from nature, we can learn to work with carbon, using it as a building block to engineer better products for life. This journey has led us to products that go beyond neutral and actually store carbon, keeping it out of the atmosphere, helping restore the health of the planet. The result? Our first carbon-negative carpet tile. A tile that combines durability and beauty with a carbon-negative footprint. 3 innovative new backings help us take this momentous step. These new backings store carbon like never before. Each uses more recycled content and innovative carbon-capturing materials. Materials like industrial byproducts, concentrated carbon, and renewable organic materials. When you choose Interface products, you're choosing to help build a healthier planet by lowering the carbon footprint of your space.
Alright, so as you guys can see there, this company is a global floor manufacturer, but when they developed, what they did is they went beyond with this innovation. So carbon was a problem. It's a lot of an excess of carbon, and that is contributing to the warming of the planet. But what they did is they used carbon in their floors, but they also realized that they can actually create new flooring that they can help on absorbing the carbon that exists already in the atmosphere. So that's an amazing thing that they did. They started to think first, how can we reuse the carbon that exists? Because this is something that already exists there. So instead of me mining for new carbon, so how can I reuse that carbon that exists? So it's by recycling something that already exists that is considered a waste, and then change it into something that was even providing more benefits. So now it's not just it's a flow created from the carbon, but it's also how can I help to minimize, not just to reach the zero net carbon problem, but it's actually absorbing carbon, so it's actually helping on reducing the carbon that exists in the outside. So this is a very interesting approach as well, and this is where innovation comes into play, that you are forced to think out of the box, and you guys can see what this company has created in there. All right, so now with these two cases of these big corporations, now we're going to go into Singapore. Now we're going to talk about what is happening in Singapore. All right, first I want to introduce to you the Singapore Green Plan 2030. Now I know that perhaps most of you have heard about this plan, but I want you to hear again about the different pillars that we have in here.
Climate change, an existential threat of our times, a crisis that waits for no one. Our Singapore Green Plan 2030 is a whole-of-nation movement that advances Singapore's sustainable development. It is our commitment to climate action as we join countries around the world to reach net zero emissions by 2050. Our Green Plan charts ambitious and concrete targets over 5 key pillars. Climate change brings on new and long-term challenges to Singapore. So, we need to build a resilient future to tackle these risks. We are investing in climate research and studying how to fortify our coastlines against rising sea levels. To tackle soaring temperatures, we are designing effective heat mitigation strategies. We are safeguarding our water and food supply to ensure we will always have enough, despite changing weather conditions and supply disruptions. Here at home, we are growing more food locally, working with firms to expand the production capacities and capabilities in climate resilience. Singapore's transformation into a city in nature never stops. We are building up our carbon sinks by extending greenery throughout our lives. Since providing our full green spaces, we're also making parks more accessible to everyone. as we intensify greening across Singapore, we bring nature and our rich biodiversity closer to us, ultimately creating a green, livable, and sustainable home for all Singaporeans. Small actions can create a big impact. Today, we are living more sustainably to leave behind a smaller carbon footprint, while also cultivating greener habits and mindsets for our next generation. In schools, sustainability is integrated into our curriculum, campus, culture, and community to nurture our students as stewards of the environment. By pursuing the circular economy, we reuse and recycle precious resources so that nothing goes to waste. The extended producer responsibility for e-waste and packaging waste is an important next step in achieving sustainable living. Walking, cycling, and taking public transport are the most eco-friendly ways to travel, so we will continue to expand our public transport network with more cycling paths to make our commutes even greener. Singapore is making decisive moves towards cleaner energy sources and building more energy-efficient infrastructure. Our city will be connected by greener public transport. Electric vehicles will power every move on our roads, and our air and sea hubs will also run on cleaner energy. A sustainable future starts with rethinking how we power our country. We are greening new and existing buildings while working with occupants to optimize their energy consumption. Solar is our most viable clean energy option, and we are maximizing it where we can, from building rooftops to reservoirs and other open spaces. We are also working with partners to develop regional power grids, as well as low-carbon alternatives like hydrogen to decarbonize our energy sources and enhance our energy security. Singapore is transitioning to a greener and more sustainable economy. The journey of decarbonization has already begun, and we are helping our enterprises to adopt sustainable practices while seizing new jobs and growth opportunities in the green economy. The carbon tax introduced in 2019 is an important step in this transition. Singapore is committed to supporting our industries, enterprises, and workers to harness sustainability as a competitive advantage. We are also developing cross-border partnerships through green economy agreements with various countries. The 5 Green Plan pillars are supported by 2 enablers: a green government and a green citizenry. Our public sector is leading the way to decarbonize operations and embed sustainability in our core business, while partnering and empowering communities to take action today. As a global community, we are all in this together. The path to a better world starts with you and me. We can all play our part and live sustainably today. Let's forge a better and greener Singapore together.
So that is our Singapore Green Plan for 2030. And as you guys noticed, they're talking about the different pillars in there. That is what we also presented in previous slide. But they also talk about enablers in there. And during the discussion of the pillars and the enablers that they were mentioning in there, you can see as well that the Singapore government is doing a lot of efforts to try to move towards sustainability. And that is because of a few reasons. Our country does not have many resources. So we are actually limited in resources. So we need to be really smart in how we use the resources that we have in our country, as well as the resources that we bring from other countries. So to not just waste them, but to use them properly so that they can actually last longer and we can actually get more from that. One of the things that I think is important as well is the mindset. The mindset are not only of the individuals but also of the companies, because you're going to realize that a lot of the companies, as well as management of those companies, they are thinking that, yeah, this is important, but they don't want to move. And that's why they implemented this carbon tax. But just as there is a tax for these things, there is also some ways of getting help from the government to move forward, to move towards sustainable production. And that is because they realize that, as is in the slide presented now, that the manufacturing sector is one of the key pillars of the Singapore economy, but it is also the highest consuming sector of electricity. And I think this is a big issue, because if we consume a lot of electricity here, we can actually see that one of the keys to reach that net zero target by 2050, it will be to really transform the sector into something really sustainable. And here is where a lot of companies start already doing the effort. Now I'm going to introduce to you different companies in the case studies. But before I go into the case studies, let me just talk about one study that was done in 2023. And then in this study, they were researching different companies here in Singapore, and about 70% of these companies, they say, or they reported that they have started their sustainability transformation in one way or another, or that they have already discussions on these ones. Okay, so this is 70% of the companies that they were in this study. But however, you can actually see that only 37 of these companies, they have implemented initiatives to support this sustainability. So only 37. So that means we're still far behind. Yes. So from there, of course, you can also see that only 21 they have reported on this sustainability. So that means 21% of this means there are companies that are actually performing something on sustainability and can tell you that there are results that they can actually see on these things. But I also want to bring here, like I say in this slide, I want you guys to observe that there are companies that they're reporting that they're going to be doing something in 1 year or 3 years. And some of the companies, they say that they do not want to intend anything sustainability for 1 or 3 years at this moment. So they're probably just waiting, hoping to see that something is changing in there. But one thing that is important to see is that there are many companies here in the Singapore context that are doing the work. And it's better to start now, because there are smaller steps also count towards this direction of sustainability. So, and on smaller steps, I'm going to introduce some companies that they started very small here in Singapore as startups, but now they have grown as global companies. So let's see some of these companies. This is Robotics company.
Renewable energy is the key to a sustainable future, a promise of a cleaner and greener world. Yet the world faces a critical challenge. While these sources are abundant, they are intermittent, creating a gap in the continuous supply of energy. To bridge this gap, Robotics was born in Singapore to provide cutting-edge energy storage solutions, backed by strong support from global investors. Robotics is a powerhouse of over 90 talented individuals who deployed over several megawatt-hours of energy storage systems across 7 countries. Robotics has forged strategic partnerships with industry leaders like Infosys, Bamboo Innovation Ventures, and Advario, allowing decarbonized places like Pulau Ubin and Jurong Island near Singapore. India, ranked 4th in renewable energy capacity, is emerging as a leader in sustainable energy and poised to become a global superpower. India is set for growth and sustainability. Robotics is committed to expanding India's energy market ecosystem. A mere site has been transformed into a state-of-the-art factory in Palwal, Haryana. Being the largest long-duration energy manufacturing facility in India, its 40,000 square feet facility produces high-quality energy storage solutions with unmatched precision and efficiency. Equipped with advanced assembly machinery and equipment, it upholds the highest standards at every step of production. Robotics is on the way to achieve a fully automated system, The high-tech facility has a current annual capacity of 100 megawatt-hour, with plans to scale up to a gigafactory in the next 2 years, with committed investments from the parent Singapore company.
Robotics mission goes beyond business by providing locally manufactured cutting-edge energy solutions. Robotics is not only fueling India's growth but also securing its energy independence.
Sustainability, many of these companies, they don't take sustainability like very important, because they say first thing we just need to do is grow. But actually many companies, and now the government is imposing a lot of taxing as well on those companies, they want them to be sustainable. And this is where companies like Piflotech or so many other companies developed in some other countries come into India and do investments, because you can bring your know-how. So this is where companies also benefiting. So if you're actually developing sustainable technologies, you can actually bring this technology in countries where there is the capital, but they are lacking of the know-how of how to implement the sustainable solutions. So that is Biflotech. So the next one I'm going to be talking is Pure Technologies.
Innovation has always been the bedrock of human progress. Chemical separation is imperative for industries ranging from food, pharmaceutical, and petrochemical. But the current processes are so energy intensive, they account for up to 15% of global energy consumption. Innovative technology is necessary to ensure long-term sustainability of these processes while reducing environmental stress.
SETI is providing a sustainable solution to industrial chemical separation. Our new generation of nanofilters will dramatically reduce the energy consumption and pollution globally by enabling the most effective chemical separations at the molecular level without the traditional use of heat. Regular chemical separation processes are not just huge silent polluters, they're also very expensive. That's why SETI's nanofiltration technology is an alternative to reducing the chemical separation's energy consumption by 90%, making it 50% more affordable.
So in here you can see how really innovation brought into the creation of these companies to create a new filtration solutions. And that is because, as you hear from the video, there's a big issue when you try to actually separate the water in there. And you require a lot of energy and a lot of resources to do these things. So that is one of the processes that actually it takes a lot of energy, a lot of power, and a lot of it also produces a lot of greenhouse emissions as well. But by using this type of technologies, yes, or by developing this type of solutions, you can actually significantly reduce all these things. So energy was reduced. It's not just to look for another source of energy, but they were actually addressing a problem that exists in there. So as you guys can see, this is a company, this is a startup company also that started here in Singapore. This also came out by coming with this problem that existed in there and how can we address these things. And this was, of course, coming with partner with research institutes and centers. And this is where the Singapore government is also supporting many companies to start looking for solutions for our sustainability pathway. So the next one is something that probably everybody knows or a bit more, Semco Industries in there. Let's see the video, and after that we discuss on this specific case study.
Hi, my name is Zoe. I've been with Semco for around 7 years. Currently, I'm the Energy and Chief Manager for Energy from Waste Facility in Singapore. I oversee the optimization of the facility efficiency and runs its shift operation. People tend to think that we are waste collection because they normally see the waste collection trucks on the road. Waste collection is just one part of the whole process. We actually incinerate the waste that is collected to produce heat energy, to create steam energy to support our customer on Jurong Island. One interesting project that I have worked on is actually to look at how we can recycle water use during the hydrojet cleaning process of the boiler tubes. During the annual cleaning process, we actually make use of a lot of clean water to thoroughly wash away the ashes that was accumulated in the boiler tubes throughout the years to improve the boiler efficiency. But this process actually generates a vast amount of wastewater. So to reduce the amount of clean water used, we implement a two-stage filtration system to actually reuse the wastewater generated. This initiative not only translates to cost saving, help to save around 10,000 meter cube of water yearly. This is around 4 Olympic-sized swimming pool. In my free time, I'm an active member of the community garden. So over there, I initiated the use of okra as a fertilizer in our garden. Okra is considered food waste produced from the production of soya milk and tofu. I collect them from the hawker stores, so intend to actually discard them. So I ferment it for a few weeks and turn it into fertilizer for the garden use. I'm really passionate about such initiatives because how we use our resources will directly impact the loved ones that's around us. To me, sustainability does not mean we need to really spend on expensive equipment to improve our overall energy efficiency. It is really about taking small steps at a time, and don't be afraid to make mistakes when we initiate these changes in our sustainability journey.
The message that he presented at the end in the video, I think is worth to repeat it again. I think it's about sustainability, is about taking small steps, towards that direction, and those small steps count a lot. So, and I think this is an important thing because he was also mentioning about how he think and how he apply, reuse of some waste product into his passion. His passion was gathering, right? And then he was actually using that waste product to create fertilizer for the garden. And I think this is a good video also where we present an example of a mindset. So the mindset of the individual is also important. Why? Because if we always think about waste or not reusing or recycling what we have, then it's going to also be implemented when the companies are trying to move towards the sustainability direction. Why? Because we as an individuals, as a part of that society, that organization, we might not feel that there is value into these things, but we can also help to drive that direction if we are actually embarking ourselves into the sustainability effort as well. So the next one is a bigger company. So this is ABB. This is international company, but it also has presence here in Singapore. I'll show you the video, and then after that we discuss why I put it into here.
The world is turning, and the demand for energy is increasing. It's our turn to increase energy efficiency and sustainability. As a global competence center for power electronics, a genuine key technology, we recognize the importance of electronics for the world early on. We focused on relevant activities and future markets, from the generation of renewable energies to solutions for their more intelligent use in mobility and industry. Customers rely on our strengths as we continue to push the boundaries of technology and develop breakthrough solutions for the global market with our excellent research and know-how. Today, we are a leader in providing products and solutions that help our customers become more productive while reducing CO2 emissions. Wherever high-performance, mission-critical drives are needed, people build on the ideas, solutions, and partnership of our System Drives division. Be it for energy-efficient drives for large ships, the highly dynamic control of rolling mills, or the conversion of wind energy. In collaboration with our partners, we keep expanding the innovation ecosystem. Improving transport efficiency by reducing energy consumption and lowering CO2 emissions is what drives our traction division. Our high efficiency, Innovative drive and battery solutions power all types of rail and heavy electric vehicles and pave the way to smart and sustainable mobility. With all our drive, we stand for one thing above all: superior quality. And we guarantee this through our own high-performance laboratory and our modern testing facilities. We keep the world turning while saving energy every day.
So ABB is a multinational company, and of course, why talk about ABB here in the Singapore context? Well, I want to talk about that because actually a lot of the products, a lot of the services being used in a lot of different solutions. For myself, I'm involved directly with robots, and one of the things that I wanted to talk is about all these advancements in technology that they were talking about in the video. How did they affect it in the robots? Well, when ABB introduces this OmniCore controller just a couple of years back, one of the things that they were saying is that this robot helps on reducing or improving 20% of the energy savings compared to the previous controllers. I was a bit skeptical about these numbers and all these things, but actually when I start using the controller, I realized that yes, it actually is much better technology. And it's not because it just uses better drives, but it also uses upgrade software that actually helps to reduce the waste of motion into the drivers for the motors of the robots. So that means in a way it also helps to save it by just making it more efficient in the way that it actually moves. And it also by regenerating power back into the grid as the motors move into there. So those are things that bigger companies are looking at. So that's true. One ways of addressing sustainability is probably just improve equipment that are very old, or if there are new solutions that can actually help on reducing the cost, because maybe these are smarter solutions, or they are using AI to actually collect the data and to help on reducing the amount of things that it's actually performing, and therefore reducing the energy consumption. That will be beneficial as well. So there are many ways of looking for how to start with sustainability. So in these different case studies, I have mentioned, of course, they have also mentioned the different benefits of bringing sustainability in manufacturing. But as you guys can see there, many of the companies, when they started the sustainability path, they didn't report on the operational cost. But as it went on, as the innovations came and settled there, the operational costs were reduced for most of these companies. And that is because now you are reusing things that previously it was a waste. So you're recycling your own waste, you don't waste it so much. You're recycling also water. You are also saving also on energy. You're not getting anything from the grid. And actually some of these companies, they actually produce an excess of energy and send it back into the grid. So it can actually be used as well. And this also helps on satisfy those regulations that the country is imposing, and also to create a better brand awareness and creating a better consumer trust, and therefore more clients for these companies. And I think this is something that is very important. And in the long run, you guys can see that because they need to start thinking on how to address these problems, they create innovation and competitive solutions that actually can help in the long run to bring benefits for the environment and also economic benefits for those companies. So the concluding key points in here, most importantly, is I want to just emphasize again that the Singapore government has created the Singapore Green Plan 2030, and this is our guiding compass. The Singapore government has different ways of helping the companies with sustainability. They have created different avenues so that we can actually reach to them as well and look for ways of creating these things. And one of the ways, of course, of doing this, in case that maybe you're not so familiar or maybe you have some problems and you do not know how to address it, is you can also collaborate with us, with the Singapore Polytechnic. We can go and address the different problems, and we can do different ways of thinking and looking for solutions. We might not be the one providing you the solution, but we have the know-how of how to and look for the problems and how to address some of these problems. So we can actually also help you on starting with your problems and start looking solutions together towards your problems. Maybe your problem is, how can I start embarking my company into the sustainability platform? And this is where we can actually help you in there. All right, so I have reached the end of the presentation. So before we pass into the questions and answer sections, I just wanted to leave you with the last quote in there. It says, the future of manufacturing is sustainable, efficient, and responsible. And I think it is because we're all playing the role on this platform of sustainability. So please do let me know if there's any questions in the chat so I can address these questions.
So far, no questions in the chat.
All right, so it seems that there are no questions in the chat. Thank you so much for your attention. And if there are any questions, just post it there, so we'll be coming back to you with some answers. And remember, if you have any projects or anything that you want to discover on your path of sustainability, contact us, and we are very glad to help you on this path of sustainability. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Carlos, for wonderful sharing on the efforts to create sustainable automations and robotics in industries. Okay, now I should now invite our speaker too, Mr. Khan from Movita, Singapore. Okay, Mr. Khan, over here. Picture. There will be a video of you. Yeah.
Can I start? Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ken, and I'm from Movita. A quick introduction about the company, Movita. Movita is a Singapore-based company that is founded in 2016, and we have been delivering and developing autonomous driving products for people and logistics transport. My presentation today hopes to share some insights on current transport services and hope to answer questions like, how will cities and transportation looks like in 10, 15, and even 30 years later? What will change as new and disruptive technologies become the norm? How are intelligent transport systems, or ITS in short, accelerates this journey into the future to be sustainable, safe, user-centric, and data-driven? First, why the need to think about ITS? Transport is critical to social and economic developments across Asia as well as the rest of the world. It creates opportunities for growth, generates jobs, and facilitates trade. However, the design and delivery of transport systems is expected to become increasingly complex in the coming decades. The following changes have greatly altered the way transport systems are used. First, a key factor why the current transportation needs to evolve is because of our aging populations. From the diagrams that you see, a lot of countries are now facing an aging population. In fact, for both Singapore and China, we are facing a ratio of about 1:5 that are above 65 years old. And the birth rate of both countries have both shown signs of declining. As such, countries are facing the challenge of renewing the public transport labor force. With more elderly people in our midst, the ability to move them around and meet their diverse and evolving needs is critical. Next, climate change is a global challenge that affects various aspects of human life, including transportation systems. Although its contribution is not major, ITS has implications for climate change, as they may influence the amount and the type of greenhouse gas emission from vehicles. Hence, it is timely to reimagine how ITS can respond or even reduce the economic impact. We have been living in times of very rapid urbanization and advancement of technology. COVID-19 has been the catalyst of such change. It has changed the way we work, live, and travel in cities around the world. In fact, the pandemic has accelerated Singapore's digitization vision and digital economy, while at the same time highlighted the impact on transportation from a financial and viable point of view. This shifting context and how it is affecting travel behavior deserves a relook at current transport systems for a post-pandemic future. Lastly, countries are more globally and regionally connected than ever. Yes, cross-regional and intra-regional potentials for conflicts is increasing. New frameworks, agreements, and wider politics, international relationships are shaping the growth of transport systems around the region, and the local political situation heavily influence the implementation and success of transport projects around transport policies. With these trends, what are the opportunities and strategies to upgrade current transport systems? Advanced technology are increasingly deployed in transport infrastructure across Asia and the Pacific. Key enablers for these trends are declining cost of sensors technology, hence facilitating data collection, adoption of autonomous systems for safe, repeatable, and efficient transport systems, and the use of AI and machine learning solutions for data analytics and digital transformation. We could see in future ITS embracing this advanced technology and target We could see in future ITS embracing this advanced technology and adopt targeted cost-effective mobility innovations in encouraging sustainable transport choices, minimizing negative impact, increasing comfort and convenience, and broadening connectivity. We could also see the rise of AI and machine learning, as well as digital twins, being used to support scenario planning for more resilient transport systems operations. Future ITS will be data-driven and people-centric. From population, travel, and behavior patterns data, coupled with AI and machine learning, personalized travel services and pricing plans can be offered to all groups of commuters to achieve the desired outcome in terms of economics and social impact. Digital technology will influence and reshape transport behaviors. Technology enabled mobility as a service and demand responsive transport have the potential to improve the experience of accessibility, efficiency, and affordability, while expanding the availability of last mile options such as e-scooters. Future transport infrastructure and systems will catalyze the development of spaces and services that are accessible, safe, inclusive, and affordable for all users. At a macro level, coordinated land use and transport planning will be critical in creating efficient urban systems. Countries in the region can benefit from new technologies such as transport electrification, digitization, and automation. Future ITS will be seamlessly integrated throughout neighborhoods, cities, and regions, enabling ease of travel and ensuring people and goods are connected to the places they need to go. In countries that have both city and urban regions, inclusive urban planning should ensure that transport systems accommodate the needs of all citizens and effectively consider affordability, issue of access for a variety of people, and safety and security for all. Future transport infrastructure and systems need to be planned, designed, and operate to deliver long-term sustainability through a holistic and whole-of-system approach to ensure low carbon and resilient development. Example of such developments includes the use of real-time, agnostic, and response for risk-informed transport systems, shift from car-centric design towards designing for multi-user mobility and electrification for our public transport. For future ITS to be efficient, data sharing is critical also. A standardized platform for this is needed. Policies and regulation frameworks are needed to be built by key stakeholders and enforced to protect privacy and data protection, as well as protection against cybersecurity. Of course, with all these technology developments, we also need to have strong government industrial partnership to foster innovation, collaboration, and regulation in the field of smart mobility. ITS should address the social needs and preference of users. It should also be compact and efficient, minimizes the impact on environment and resource consumption. Lastly, ITS should involve key stakeholders from various sectors and levels, from public authorities, private operators, researchers, civil societies, and end users. In summary, future ITS must first be human-centric, second, be resilient and sustainable. To achieve this, a strong government industrial partnership is key. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you.
So far, no questions.
Okay, thank you, Ken, for the well presented in the topics on the future of autonomous vehicles with all the V2X infrastructures and all those updates needed for in Singapore. Yeah. So with that, I'll wait for some Q&A sessions. If you have any questions, maybe you can type it out in the chat. Alright, okay, so far I think I don't see any chat. Okay, don't worry, we will send you out the email with our recorded streaming video in the later dates. Yeah, okay, with that, if no further questions, Q&A, and we will end our sessions. And thanks for your attentions and have a good day. Bye-bye.